This is the home of 60-year-old Charles March, and this is where Kathy Goebel's remains were found just before noon today. Now, this is still a very active crime scene, and we're told that police could be on scene for several days. Usually you hear of firefighters fighting through the flames and the smoke to save a person or a family trapped inside. Now, luckily, no one was hurt when the fire broke out around 2:30 at this home behind me on Myrtle Tree Road, but a litter of kittens was trapped inside, and that's when a very daring and brave firefighter went in just to save these little guys, and this is one of them right here, and they all need a home tonight. The 5.5-hour-long meeting was nothing short of a showdown between those who showed up to publicly scold the board for their unexpected firing of Superintendent Jeria Marple. I can honestly say that this is one of the most chaotic and sad scenes that I've ever been to. There are so many police on scene. The mood here is so somber. Everyone is so upset. You just look in these state police officers and these deputies' eyes, and you just see the pain and the hurt that they are going through right now, losing one of their own. Many community members, police officers, pretty much everyone in this community has stopped by and made a makeshift memorial here off of the interstate. They have left flowers, they've left cards, candles, flags, really just an amazing sight and show of support for Trooper Bailey and Corporal Workman. Right here, here's a letter, and it says it's to Corporal Bailey's family, and it's from Caden Walsh, and it says that he is 6 years old. Police officers have left their business cards. Here's a patch from the Lexington Police in Massachusetts. So that really is showing you how far the support is coming in all around for people here in Clay County and for the family and the friends of the fallen troopers. We're here at the City National Bank in Glasgow, where the search for a bank robber is still very active right now, and police are asking for your help to try and track down the suspect. Now, take a good look at her. Details have been slowly coming in all day, but we can tell you that within the last hour, Kanawha County Sheriff's crime scene units have left the scene, and within the last several hours, they have made an arrest. The principal said it best when she said, "This is the place where Bill Stewart first donned that old gold and blue, and this is where his love affair with football began." But as you can see behind me, this is the truck that car slammed into when the driver, now identified as Jan Perry of Clarksburg, made a deadly decision during a high-speed police chase. Aaliyah Lunsford's mother, Lena, made that 911 call that her daughter was missing from their home 1 year ago. To this day, no suspects named, no arrests made, and those fighting for justice for Aaliyah say they've been left in the dark by investigators.
1 year is unacceptable. We are talking about a 3-year-old child.
1 year later, and the mystery of what happened to Aaliyah Lunsford is just as strong as it was the day she vanished, frustrating her extended family who gathered outside the Lewis County Courthouse holding signs and hanging ribbons, desperate for answers.
I hoped and prayed that we would never be standing here for a year. It's so hard, a year and not knowing.
The small group of extended family has been at the forefront of the search for Aaliyah, even staging their own searches and praying for closure in a case that's rocked the entire community.
Aaliyah is what is important. She's a precious child of God that we need to find.
Not at the courthouse today, her mother, Lena Lunsford. She's serving an 8-month prison sentence for welfare fraud that was uncovered after Aaliyah's disappearance. Her stepfather, Ralph, still living in Lewis County, but neither has ever publicly made a plea for their daughter's return. Fingers have been pointed at the couple since day one, but the FBI has never publicly named them suspects. Bowen says an investigator in the case told her without their cooperation, the girl would likely never be found.
They're not going to confess. Where are the investigators? Where are the people that are trained and skilled to get these answers for us?
The family says they haven't received updates in months, saying their calls for inquiry and tips they personally receive often are ignored.
We get tips, and then they say, okay, turn them over, turn them over, turn them over. We turn them over, and it's just like we're a laughing stock.
Still, they hold out hope this case won't go cold and won't bring them back here next year, still begging for answers. In March, FBI officials said they would update the media monthly on the case. We also have not heard from them. Eyewitness News has exclusively obtained the tape and transcript. We have edited the almost 2-hour confession and do warn you that the details are graphic.
What's your full name? Charles Eugene March.
Willingly giving a statement to police, but at the time not aware that Kathy Goebel's dismembered body had been found buried in his yard.
Charlie, right now we're up at your house. We're executing some search warrants. Okay. Do you know what that would be about? No.
For several minutes, March denies knowing anything about his co-worker's disappearance 2 years and 1 day before his eventual arrest. But it doesn't take long for Detective Sean Snufford to get him to crack. And without any more hesitation, March comes clean.
I feel evil about this. I dismembered her and buried her. Where did you bury her? In the backyard. I felt really sorry. No, it's not all right.
Gruesome details, some too graphic for television, but March claims throughout much of the confession that Goebel wanted him to kill her. Investigators, however, say no evidence was ever found to support that claim.
I know the world's going to look at me as evil, I guess I am. How did you cut her up? We did in the bathtub. In the house? Which you couldn't do it that night. Couldn't do it that night. We cut her up and wrapped her in a blanket. Took her out and said a prayer. Buried her. What'd you use to cut her up? A handsaw.
Calmly explaining to Snuffer how he executed the murder, even saying he didn't get rid of the evidence because in the back of his mind, he said he wanted to get caught.
It all just seems like something that you see on television to me. I mean, because everything just went like boom, boom, boom. I'm thinking, why? It's hard for me to believe. I mean, it's actually hard for me to believe.
For 2 years, March went to work and acted like nothing ever happened. 2 years of keeping a dark secret buried away.
I'm really glad this is over.
March will be sentenced in January.
We begin with more of an Eyewitness News video exclusive tonight. A man who has challenged some of the most powerful West Virginia politicians has been arrested for allegedly shooting a man in Clay County. Eyewitness News reporter Leslie Rubin was the only reporter to speak with him after his arrest. She joins us now live here in our studio with more on why the suspect says he had a right to pull the trigger. Leslie?
Yeah, Rick, 41-year-old Hiram Lewis is no stranger to the spotlight. He's a lawyer. He ran for both U.S. Senate and Attorney General. But tonight he's facing serious felony charges for shooting a man in the leg. Now he tells me it's in God's hands.
He busted my door down. I told him several times not to kick the door in. Do not kick the door in. He kicked the door in and came at me and threatened my life, and I had to shoot him in the leg.
A trail of blood, farm animals, and old campaign signs are all that's left outside Hiram Lewis's home in Procius.
When we arrived, we saw the victim lying on the porch with a gunshot wound to the leg.
Lewis doesn't deny shooting the victim, Stephen Bogart, a man he says he's known for about a week, but he claims it was self-defense.
I was totally within my rights. I was in my home when I made when I shot him after he barged in my residence and busted the door down.
But state police say Bogart says he was a resident at the home, therefore not breaking in. Lewis is facing charges of malicious wounding and wanton endangerment, even though he says he was invoking the Castle Doctrine that allows someone to use force when a person fears for their life when someone is breaking into their home.
I'm completely innocent of any charges that they want to file against me.
The Republican nearly defeated Darryl McGraw for Attorney General in 2004. After that loss in 2006, he vied for a U.S. Senate seat but lost to Morgantown businessman John Racy. He's a former Army Ranger and JAG officer and a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom.
He was battling he was homeless vet, and I was helping him out a little bit, letting him do some construction work on the camp that I just got, and he just, he went crazy today.
Now, Bogart was taken to CAMC General, where Charleston police then had to be called in after he became unruly and aggressive. Lewis is in the Central Regional Jail on a $100,000 bond. Keith Clark's plan to rob the Logan Bank and Trust in Hearts didn't go far, and he didn't get very far after the tellers called police.
Were you trying to rob the bank?
No.
Did you have intentions of robbing the bank?
No.
45-year-old Keith Clark wasn't ready to admit on camera what police said he'd done just hours before his arrest. Or, well, tried to do. They say Clark was caught on camera here at the Logan Bank and Trust, coming up to the door, wearing a camo jacket, sweatpants, and a hood covering his face.
He was unable to gain access to the bank. They have a secure door. and he had fled on foot.
The problem came when Clark targeted a bank that hadn't opened for the day. After realizing his mistake, he ditched the plan.
He attempted to open the door. When he was unable to, he turned and went behind the bank and hit the woods.
But you didn't want to rob the bank?
No.
Why do you think the police think that you did?
Well, because they caught me with because I was at the bridge and stuff.
Troopers found Clark about 15 minutes later near a bridge. That's when they say he threw a duffel bag over the bridge. Inside, a camo jacket, ski mask, gloves, and a gun. So tell me, if you weren't trying to rob the bank, why you had the mask and the gun?
I just had the thing on my head. That was it.
What do you mean you had the thing on your head?
The outfit.
It was just an outfit?
Yeah, it was pouring rain.
Clark isn't supposed to have a gun. That's because in 2003, he was convicted of second-degree robbery for stealing prescription drugs from the Medicap pharmacy in Wayne County. Still, he contends this is all a misunderstanding. Do you think this is kind of doesn't make sense if you had a mask and a gun? And do you see why they think you wanted to rob the bank?
Yep, I sure do.
This is the second time in less than a month that a bank has been under attack in Lincoln County.